Hello, District 95 community. Thank you so much for clicking on this video to watch. The purpose of the video is to share with you the metrics that we will be using to determine our return to in-person instruction. What that return looks like and what in-person instruction looks like is something that we're still working on, but we wanted to share with you as soon as we were able to get them from the Jackson County Health Department, the metrics that we will be using. Before I dig into that, I just want to give a couple quick thank yous to our teachers for all the work that they're doing and adjusting the way that they instruct to a remote model. This is something that they were not initially trained to do. They were trained to have their students in front of them and let their personalities shine through an in-person model of instruction. And they have quickly transitioned to doing it this way out of the need. Not only do I want to thank our teachers, but I want to thank our families, our parents, our guardians, our grandparents, our foster parents, our aunts and uncles, our brothers and sisters who are helping our students with remote instruction. We know that it is a challenge. We know that it is not only a challenge for you, but it is a challenge for you to be able to handle the other duties that you have as adults, being parents and workers and caregivers. We appreciate all that you're doing. And we know that during this time, you probably appreciate our teachers more than ever before because you can see the gift that it takes and the patience that it takes to instruct children on a daily basis. Also want to thank our administrators for their selfless work, for going above and beyond and supporting not only their teachers, but the students and the community during this time. And lastly, I want to thank our cafeteria workers and our bus drivers for the work that they're doing to provide thousands of meals every single week to our community in an effort to provide the most necessary needs to those that really, really need it. We are fortunate to be able to do this work, and we're going to continue to do it to the best of our ability, a global pandemic or not. Now to the metrics. In talking with Jackson County Health Department, I'm going to show you a document, and I'll come back to this one, which is a very simplified document here in a moment. But this document was given to us by the Jackson County Health Department to share the metrics that we will be using to determine when community transmission is at a low enough place to for things to be less risky to have our students congregate in a school setting on a daily basis. As you look at this document, you'll see that there are three levels of transmission that we will be monitoring every single week. A minimal level, which is blue, a moderate level, which is orange, and a substantial level, which is red. Each of these levels is defined by a variety of factors, including weekly cases per 100,000 people, changes in case numbers, changes in county youth case numbers, positivity rates, and rate of community spread. It is really important to recognize that as health experts and as we learn more about COVID-19 and community spread, anything that I share with you may change at the drop of a dime. And that is what we've been experiencing during this time. But Jackson County Health Department has given us these metrics in an effort for us to use them in a way that we feel best fits the needs in our community. So I'll just scroll through the document real quick. Every single thing that I discussed today will be on our district website and on our social media. On our website, it will be under a link entitled Return to School Metrics. And on there, you will be able to see a simplified form that I have put in place to help us to basically break down these metrics that Jackson County Health Department has given us into a more understandable and easy to use fashion for our community. I will show you how we will use these colors, this guidance to gauge in Carbondale District 95 what it looks like for us to come back to school. The document that I'll use to do that is this document. And this document, once again, will be on our district website. And what you see on this document are the same colors that you saw on the document, the guidance document that Jackson County Health Department gave us. You see the colors blue, orange, and red again. And within those colors, you see the words minimal, moderate, and substantial. And you see numbers. The Jackson County Health Department document had about 5 different things that they were tracking to help us to see if we're at a minimal level of community transmission, at a moderate level, or at a substantial level. We're going to use 2 of those data points to guide our decision making in District 95. We're going to use the new cases per 100,000 data point and the test positivity rate over the last 7 days to guide the decisions that we make. If in our district, if in our county, we find ourselves to be equal to or over 100 cases in a week, or equal to or over 8% positivity rate in a given week, we will see ourselves as substantial, at a substantial risk for community transmission, and we will continue with remote learning. But if in 2 consecutive weeks, we are able to be at a moderate or a minimal level, which will be basically defined as being under 100 cases and under 8% positivity rate, we will then begin the work of transitioning from remote learning to in-person learning. I'll share that with you again. We are looking, beginning this week, the week ending September 25th, for 2 consecutive weeks of data that shows that we are at a moderate or minimal risk for community transmission, which means that our data is trending down to begin the planning process of transitioning from remote to in-person learning. If we have 2 consecutive weeks in a moderate or minimal level, we will use the 3rd week to begin the plan and sharing the details of our return while we're still on remote learning. And that 4th week will be the week that we come back in person in some way, shape, or form. At the bottom of this document, you'll see that we've been doing the work of using this data to track how we've been doing over the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. And you know that we started school the week of August 9th. Since the week of August 9th, we've only had 1 week where we've been at a moderate level of transmission based upon the information that we're using as we interpret the guidance that Jackson County Health Department has given us. These past 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, we've been at a substantial level of transmission because we've had one of these metrics, new cases over 100,000 per 100,000 and test positivity rate over 100 or over 8%. In this case, the new cases per 100,000 have been over 100 the last 4 weeks. The data that we usually look at is usually a week behind. We're working with Jackson County Health Department to have data for the current week earlier than the Illinois Department of Public Health gives us. But this is the information we'll be using. Everything that we're hearing so far is telling us that this week, the week of September 20th through the 26th, has been one of the best weeks that Jackson County has had in the past 9 weeks. And we are hoping that this week will be our first week of moderate in the last 4 weeks. And if that is the case, and next week is another week of moderate or minimal transmission in our county, we will begin using the week of October 4th as a planning week to return to in-person instruction in some form for students the week of October 11th, which is also the first week of the 2nd quarter in our district. This chart with metrics will be on our website for you to be able to keep track of. Another place that you can look at this same data, the place where this data corresponds with, is at the Illinois Department of Public Health website at dph.illinois.gov. If you go to the Illinois Department of Public Health website and you click on the coronavirus emblem there, you will be able to see a way that you can track the data on your own. Once you click on that emblem, you will see a space where it talks about school guidance. And underneath there it says county level school metrics. You click on county level school metrics, and this page will come up where you are able to select a county. As you know, we're in Jackson County. So I'll go find Jackson County. I'll click on it. Once I click on Jackson County, you will see our name up here of Jackson County, detailed metrics and school metrics. And when we go down, we'll see that this is for last week again, September 13th through September 19th. And we'll click on metrics for school determination of community spread. Here you'll see the same things that the county has told us to look at. Our test positivity rate. You'll see our new cases per 100,000, our new cases that determine community spread, and our youth cases. This is where you can track the data on your own to see how we're doing on a weekly basis. We know that in our schools, we're using a metric that is letting us know that if we are over 100 cases per 100,000 or over 8% positivity, we know that we will stay full remote learning. And if we get under those rates in both of these categories, we're looking for 2 consecutive weeks where, once again, on this document, which shares that same data, where we can say that we will return to in-person instruction in some way, shape, or form. I'm really rooting for this to be our first week in a long time where we're at a moderate level. We're under 100 cases per 100,000 and under 8%. This "and" is a big word here. And it really helps us to be able to track this data in a meaningful way. This is where we're at right now. All of this may change at the drop of a hat. We never know, but this is what we feel like substantiates the decisions we've made going back and will help us to make good decisions going forward on when we're at a place where we can have our students back into our buildings to learn in an in-person model in some way, shape, or form. My true hope is to continue to communicate this to families every single week so you'll know where we are at. I'm hoping to get real-time data, not data that is a week behind, like on the Illinois Department of Public Health website. As you know, today is September 25th. You see that there. And we're hoping to get data that is right on time in our county for us to be able to communicate to everyone every single week so that you know where we're at. Last thing, we will be sending out a survey to parents, really asking one question, and that question will be, if the metrics show that in Jackson County, our community transmission levels are going down, and we've had 2 consecutive weeks at a moderate or minimal level, will you plan to send your kid back to school for in-person instruction, or would you rather keep your child at home for the remainder of the semester for full remote learning? We know that we'll have some families that would like to stay home for the rest of the semester in full remote. Even if we come in person, you'll have that option. We recognize that we have students with pre-existing conditions. We recognize that we have students that live with family members with pre-existing conditions where it is just too risky for you to be around a lot of people and potentially risk contracting the virus. We are not using words like there will be no risk of contracting the virus in a school setting because we know that there's so many different ways to contract it, but we are looking for data that shows that there is a decreased risk of contracting it in a school setting. And we respect parents' wishes, and we'll continue to serve and offer a remote model even when we come back in person in some way, shape, or form. My biggest encouragement for each of you is to continue to look at our district website, our social media for more updates. We're looking forward to using this data. We're hoping that this week is our first week of good data, and we'll get that information early next week and share it with you. And we're hoping that if next week's a great week in Jackson County, we'll have 2 consecutive weeks, and we will work to get back to school by planning that first week of October to return the week of October 11th, if the data says that it is safe enough to do so. Thank you so much for listening to me. I want to also thank Robbie Clark Stokes for introducing this platform to our district. It's called Screencastify. Many of our teachers are using it during their instruction, and I learned to use it to be able to share this information with you. Have a great weekend.